Kiba Jayo Jaya Gora Jane Arati Kesoba Kiba Jayo Kiba Jayo Jaya Gora Jane Arati Kesoba Jana Vitata Vani Jagamana Loba Jana Vitata Vani Jagamana Loba Dakini Tachad Amega Dadhara Dakini Tachad Amega Dadhara Nikate Advaita Shini Vasa Chatradara Nikate Advaita Shini Vasa Chatradara Bose Achingora Chavat Ratna Semasani Bose Bose Achingora Chavat Ratna Semasani Arati Koren Ha Brahma Adi Deva Gane Arati Koren Ha Brahma Adi Deva Gane Nara Hari Adi Kori Kamara Dulaya Nara Hari Adi Kori Kamara Dulaya Sanjaya Mukunda Vasu Ushi Adigaya Sanjaya Mukunda Vasu Ushi Adigaya Shankabadi Gandhabadi Badi Karatala Shankabadi Gandhabadi Badi Karatala Madhura Medanga Bhaji Paramaratala Bahur Koti Chandradini Vandana Juvala Bahur Koti Chandradini Vandana Juvala Gala Dese Vanhamala Kuri Jala Mala Shiva Sukha Naradaha Prime Gada Gada Shiva Sukha Naradaha Prime Gada Gada Bhakti Vinoda Deke Gaurara Samprada Bhakti Vinoda Deke Gaurara Samprada Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Prabhupada Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharini Nivesesa Sunyavadi Paskacha Yeshatarini Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharine Nirvishesha Sunyavad Paschatadisatharine Prabhupada. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivastava Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivastava Gaura Bhakta Vinda Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivastava Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivastava Gaura Bhakta Vinda Nityananda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivastava Gaura Bhakta Vinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivastava Gaura Bhakta Vinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nitai Gauranga, Nitai Gauranga. Nitai Gauranga, Nitai Gauranga. Nitai Gauranga. Nitai Gauranga, Nitai Gauranga. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nitai Gora Haribol, 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 Haribol. Nitai Gora Haribol, 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 Nitai Go Haribol. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Oh, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Oh, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Oh, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Oh, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Guru Dev, Jaya Guru Dev, Jaya Guru Dev, Jaya Guru Dev, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Guru Dev, Jaya Guru Dev, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Jayam Vishnu Paramahansa Parikacharya Asata Shrimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jayam Vishnu Paramahansa Parikacharya Asata Shrimad Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Ki Ananta Koti Vaishnavindi Ki Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Shri Radha Krishna Gopinath Shaman Kun Radha Kun Gita Govardhan Ki Prem Shri Gaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasti Bhakta Vindi Ki Tulsi Devi Bhakta Devi Ki Samaveda Bhakta Vindi Ki Ganga Mai Ki Jamuna Mai Ki Vrindavanami Ki Mayapur Dharmi Ki Jagannath Puri Ki Transcendental Book Distribution Ki Hari Nam Sankirtan Ki. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga.
Namaste Narasimhaya. Palada lada daine. Palada lada daine. Hiranya Kashipu Vashaha. O Shila Tankana Khala. Ito Nasimo Parado Nasimo. Oh Yato Yato Yamitato Nasimo. Bahe Nasimo Hidaye Nasimo. Oh Narasimha Madhim Sharanam Prapade. Oh Tavankara Kamalavare Nakam Adhuta Shira Dalita Hiranya Kashipu Tanubringa Keshavadhita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadish Hare Jai Jagadish Hare Jaya Jagadish Hare Follow. Oh Jaya Nrsimhadev 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 Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Jaya Prahlad Nrsimha Jaya Prahlad Nrsimha Jaya Prahlad Nrsimha Jaya Prahlad Nrsimha Jai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Jai Gaura Hari Bol Jai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Jai Gaura Hari Bol Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Nitai Gaur Premanandi Shri Nrsimhadev Bhagavan ki Bhakti Shiromani Prahlad Maharaj ki
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna. Hare Hare. Hare Rama. Hare Rama. Rama Rama. Hare Hare. Thank you so much for joining today. Today is a very auspicious day of Chandana Yatra. And today also notice that it is the hottest day today. So it is so nice. It's an apt that to apply the Chandan to the Supreme Lord to cool down. As we know that this is the Chandana Yatra. In India, it is very hot and all over. And this is the time, the season that the Chandan applies to the Lordships and to cool down. So Lord, it displeases the Lord so most. So thank you so much for joining today, this very, very auspicious day of Chandana Yatra. Shri Radha Shyama Sundar Ji ki. Shri Radha Shyama Sundar Ji ki. It's not so good. I mean, everybody is kind of not happy with it. Loudly. Shri Radha Shyam Sundar Ji ki. That was good. That was Lord, please. One more time. So as per the devotees request, one more time. Shri Radha Shyam Sundar Ji ki. Very bol. Jai. Thank you so much. And also don't leave. We'll be having Pushya Abhishek. And the altar will be open for some time. And we'll be offering the flowers to the Supreme Lord today, Pushya Abhishek. And also wait for that. You all can have the Chandan from the Lord after that. You can take that Chandan from the Lordships with you and you can keep it, you can put it, apply it, whatever, but it's very from the body, from the transcendental body of the Lord. And this is completely transcendental. So don't leave without that. Please stay back to collect the chandan from the body of the Lord. So thank you so much again for joining today. Let's welcome all of you saying Hari Bol 3 times. Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. And is Govinda Nandini Mataji speaking today? Also, let's welcome Mataji saying Hari Bol 3 times. Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol.
Jaya Radha Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braj Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braj Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Ram Ram प्रेमानंदे श्री श्री राधा श्याम सुंदर भगवान जी की जय। श्री श्री जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्रा मैया की जय। श्री श्री गौरनिताय पंचतत्व की जय। शिल प्रभुपाद की जय। निताई गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि बोल। Hare Krishna, please accept my humble obeisances. All grace to Srila Prabhupada. Om Ajnana-timirandasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshur-unmilitam yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupam Sagar Jatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitanscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesh Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So thank you all very much for joining us today at the Sunday feast and a very special occasion of Chandan Yatra. Beautiful darshan of the deity is a rare one, once in a year opportunity to serve the Lords in this way. And please accept my humble obeisances to all of you. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki jai. I would like to speak a little bit about how Lord Balramji is the best friend of Krishna. It can almost like a prelude to Balram Jayanti, which is coming up next Sunday. And it also happens to be World Friendship Day. And I thought that's a beautiful combination. Lord Krishna and Lord Balram being friends of each other, and we can celebrate the World Friendship Day in a very unique way. And while we will speak a little bit about their friendship, we can also understand how we can become closer friends to Lord Krishna. So that's my little endeavor today. And so usually God is considered in general parlance as somebody who accepts the worship, who is already on the top, and he accepts the worship. And there's always a sense of subordination for everyone else. And sometimes Bhagwan is also considered as a dictator who will tell us, do this and don't do this. And if you don't do this, you're going to be punished. You'll be doomed. But in our Vedic literature, and especially in Gaudiya Vaishnava tradition, God is not necessarily considered as a dictator and a punisher, having only one-way traffic, offerings from us and worships going from us. And he is accepting them in a very majestic way without coming down to our level. That is not the concept we have in our Gaudiya Vaishnava tradition. Our understanding of God is mainly in terms of his relations with us, our relation with him, and his relations with his pure devotees, his relation with the great souls who come down with him in his worldly Leela, and also those personalities that Krishna himself expands into in order to show those relationships. So Krishna, Bhagavan, is nothing but a reservoir of relationships. And Srila Prabhupada, in the very beginning of Srimad Bhagavad Gita, as it is in the introduction, the first lesson that he gives us is about this relationship. And I think I copied a little part from there. Yes. So Srila Prabhupada mentions that briefly, it can be stated that a devotee is in a relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead in one of the 5 different ways. One may be a devotee in a passive state. What is that? What is that? Shanta. Shanta. One may be a devotee in active state. That's dasya. One may be a devotee as a friend, sakya. One may be a devotee as a parent, vatsalya. And one may be a devotee as a conjugal lover. That's madhurya. So in this way, in our understanding, Krishna or Bhagavan, he depicts a very rich spectrum of relationships, as we saw all of those relationships, and there are so many subsidiary in between. So the Lord gives us a whole big spectrum of these relationships, and he displays those, he depicts those, he practices those, he demonstrates those relationships which we also aspire to enjoy in this world. We also want to serve others. We also want to be friends with others and have different relationships as parents, as children, as in the householder life, so many ways. So here, our Bhagavan, our Lord Shri Krishna, is expert in displaying these various relationships that we can actually understand because we also experience those relationships. And for displaying these relationships, he arranges different leelas. And he has role plays in that. There are different roles that different devotees, different personalities play in explaining these relationships. So as we saw, some devotees, some pure souls, they have a role to play in the Leela. And other times, Yashoda, Nanda Maharaj, Gopis, they are the great souls who are Parshadas, who are eternal companions of Lord Shri Krishna. And they also have a display of relationships. And sometimes Lord himself expands into a personality, another personality, and then has a relationship with that personality. And Lord Balaram can be understood in that way, that Krishna expands. And this display of the relationship of friendship is explained through their Leela together in Vrindavan, in Dwarka, in Mathura, whenever Krishna and Balaram are here on earthly planet, like that. So it is interesting that in these relationships, Again, it's not a one-way relationship or something that Krishna will dictate how that relationship will unfold. It's a give and take. It's an exchange of various rasas, various emotions, various exchanges, companionship, cooperation, so many things. And while displaying this, Krishna is not displaying that I am God, but he has his Leela. And when he has his Leela, he acts in a humanly way. He shows his humanness or human nature. And that's how he sometimes becomes weak, sometimes becomes afraid, sometimes becomes helpless, sometimes becomes vulnerable. And that's how the relationship can be actually practiced by Krishna with the other persons, with the other devotees, great souls, because he is showing his vulnerability. And because there is a need for Krishna to have that relationship, because he is showing himself as weak, as helpless, as vulnerable, or whatever it is. And that's how there is an exchange of emotions, exchange of communication, exchange of love and affection. And that's how Krishna's love and the other person's love for each other, it increases in that relationships. It becomes deeper relationship. So in this way, Lord Krishna and Balram also displayed a very, very intimate relationship with each other in Sakhya Ras, as friends, as brothers who were divinely, intimately connected to each other in the rasa of friendship. And Balramji is a very, very special companion of Krishna, because it is said that Balramji never left Krishna. In all the important phases of Krishna's Leela on this earth, Vrindavan, Balramji was there. Everything is okay. In Mathura, Balramji was there. And in Dwarka also, Balramji was there. And he's the only personality, actually, Balramji is the only personality who has been always with Krishna. It is said that one other personality was also there in all these three places. And that was Rohini, Krishna's, Balramji's mother. And to some extent, her role was not as intimate with Krishna as Balramji. So Balramji is the topmost companion of Krishna in all his Leelas on this earth. And today, as I said, we will look at how Balramji is the best friend of Krishna and Krishna is the best friend of Balramji. Let us see who is a friend for this discussion. And there are so many different ideas and thoughts about who is a friend, depending on your experience. But broadly considering for today's discussion, a friend is one who will stick with us in our ups and downs, who is available to us as and when we need. So that's the first criterion. The other one is that we are able to share our good and bad days, good and bad news with that person, with that friend. And that friend understands our heart, understands our feelings, emotions, of course, through discussion, but sometimes even without telling, the friend will understand what's going on. And thirdly, not only understanding our heart, but the friend actually takes some action always. There's some activity that is provided as a help, as a support by this friend. And many times the friend would do something which we are unable to do because of various situations, because of helplessness or whatever it is. So those are the three factors. And if you consider Balram, Lord Balramji, then he has been with Krishna in all these three aspects, in the three different leelas of Krishna in Vrindavan, Mathura, and Dwarka. So these three phases of Krishna's leela, first of all in Vrindavan, which is described in Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto, first 40 chapters. And then Krishna's transition to Mathura, along with Balram, when they were about 10 years old on that mission to kill Kamsa. That is the next phase that's described in Srimad Bhagavatam in the next 10 chapters. And again, the last 40 chapters, Krishna's moved to Dwarka along with Balram. And then his different travels to different places, keeping the base in Dwarka. And whenever these changes, even in our lives, whenever we have a phase, one ending of one phase and going to another phase in our lives, whenever there is a transition, there are some very unique, peculiar situations. And those at that time who are with us and who help us, who understand us, who support us, who are there for us, we remember them very deeply as our friends. And on the similar lines, Balramji accompanied Krishna in these three situations, in three phases. So looking at the Vrindavan's pastime, when Krishna was about 10 years old, okay, let me tell you one point first, because that is like a background. That, okay, in Srimad Bhagavatam, there are descriptions of all these activities or leelas. And yet, some of the aspects of Krishna's journey in these phases, in Vrindavan, in Dwarka, and Mathura, are not fully described in Srimad Bhagavatam, but Srila Jiva Goswami wrote another literature called Gopal Champu. And that actually describes in great detail, in much deeper perspective, Krishna's situation in his Leela, but still as a human being, his journey through different phases, ups and downs, different emotions, different relationships. Those descriptions are given in detail in Gopal Champu. And honestly, I haven't studied it, but I'm only referring to it for this class. So don't think that I have already done all this study. No, I haven't done it. So in that, because in Srimad Bhagavatam, we always talk about how Nanda Baba and Yashoda felt extreme separation when Krishna moved to Mathura. We speak about Gopi's separation when Krishna did not return from Mathura to Vrindavan. But at least for me, I never considered how Krishna must have felt in those days. And Gopal Champu has a great description of how Krishna was extremely tormented, as lamenting and as sad as Nanda Baba and Yashoda and Gopis. So for Krishna, the news was that the parents that he considered his own, Nanda Baba and Yashoda, were not his real parents. And Devaki and Vasudeva were his actual parents. So that was a very traumatic experience for Krishna, knowing that I have another set of parents. And then he had to give up his residence from Vrindavan, which was so dear to him, and his relationships with Gopas, gopis, cows, and of course, Nanda Baba and Yashoda. So that was his first phase in life. And I, at least personally, I did not think from that perspective, because we always think how the gopis felt, how the Yashoda felt, Nanda felt, but how Krishna felt. He had to, at the age of 10, acting as a human being, had to face these two difficult situations, that I have another set of parents, and now I have to go to them. I have to give up my home. And at that time, Balramji was there for him. Balramji accompanied him on the journey towards Mathura. And he took part in every activity that Krishna did. And we have that beautiful picture, which I could not find on my PowerPoint, where you remember in Krishna.com, we have Krishna walking and Balramji walking with him, and they are being received in Mathura. So you see that picture from this perspective now, as Balramji giving a company to Krishna. When Krishna was vulnerable, even as God, he was vulnerable. He was confused about what to do next. He was trying to cope up with this change of home, change of parents. And we see Balramji going hand in hand with Krishna in all those leelas that happen in Mathura, killing Kamsa, taking care of the demons and all. So other situation that Krishna dealt very quickly when he reached Mathura was that Yadus anticipated a lot of things from Krishna. Yadus expected that Krishna would not only kill Kamsa, which he already did, but then right after killing Kamsa, Yadu kings, Yadu ministers, they anticipated that Krishna will continue to live in Mathura. And not only live in Mathura for them, but also protect them from other demons who were Kamsa's companions. Now Kamsa was gone, but the other demons were equally formidable, and they wanted Krishna to stay and protect them. And what did Krishna think before? I will do my work over there and I'll come back to Vrindavan. And there was no question of going back to Vrindavan now once he was in Mathura along with Balramji. And he had promised back in Vrindavan that I'll come back. But there was no question, because he had a duty. Even at the young age, this duty was to help the Yadus, the Yadu dynasty, and protect it from Kamsa, protect it from the demons, and to restore back Ugrasen as the king. So Krishna was tormented between these two, his love from Vrindavan on one side, his desire to go back and continue with those relationships in his village. And on this side, the duty that he recently came to know as a Yadu prince. So again, Balramji was present and he was able to understand Krishna's heart. And not only that Krishna and Balram were going through such changes and helping each other and supporting each other, but also Krishna had to give up all his connections with Vrindavan. He had to literally cut off entire relationship with Vrindavan, and all the inhabitants of Vrindavan. And the reason was that there was a great risk from the demons. If Krishna and Balram, if they were associated with Vrindavan in some ways, some give and take, some exchange of relationships, then the demons would come to know of the whereabouts of Krishna as well as his beloved Brajavasis. And Krishna wanted to protect his Rajvasis from any kind of assault from the demons. And that's why in this difficult time, Krishna had to cut off all his ties with Vrindavan just to protect them. So he told Nanda Baba that I cannot come back to Vrindavan. So Nanda Baba said that in that case, we will move closer to Mathura. And Krishna said, no, you can't do that because it's very risky, it's very dangerous. Then Nanda Baba said that let us have some exchanges. We will sending you some gifts. And Krishna said, no, that also cannot happen. And in that way, we cannot have any contact at all. And that's how Krishna, we see in his Leela after that he has no connection with Vrindavan. So Gopal Champu explains that it was very, very painful for Krishna to give up his connection completely and just forget about, just imagine in our case, it would be so difficult. You might have gone through similar situations sometimes, and you probably know the pain. But that's what Krishna was going through. And it is mentioned that Krishna was very lonely at that time because he understood his duty. He could not connect with Vrindavan, and all his relationships were lost, except Balramji, who was there for him. And he also had this fear of being misunderstood by the Rajavasis, by Nanda Baba, by Yashoda, that why is he not coming back? Why does he want to so much disconnect with us? Even though they were told that these demons were the reason, but still they were very much in so much of surprise that they were probably would say some things about Krishna. So Krishna had that fear that I might be misunderstood. And then he also had the fear that if I do anything to show my love and affection to Vrindavan, these Yadu dynasty, they will misunderstand me, thinking that my heart is not in my duty to help them, protect them. So in that way, he was tormented. And then it's mentioned that he used to speak to Balramji in great detail, privately, about his situation, about his thoughts, his feelings, his emotions. And Balramji would be there to listen to him because he was aware. He was exactly aware of, because he was also a part of this whole Leela. He was not an outsider. He was also a part. He also had to give up his residence. He also had to take up these duties. So he understood Krishna's heart, and he was there to listen to Krishna. He understood Krishna's heart, and he also used to address Krishna's predicaments. So if we see, as we said in the definition of friend, like Balramji has been available to Krishna. He has been sharing the good and the bad things, bad times, and he's understanding Krishna's heart, even with expression or without expression. Balramji understood Krishna's emotions. And so killing of Kamsa was over, and there was no scope for going back to Vrindavan. And at this time, Krishna and Balram decided that they will go to Avantis for Sandipani Muni's ashram for schooling, for education. And they moved there. They moved further away from Vrindavan, further lesser and lesser possibilities of any connection. And at that time, it's mentioned that in Gurukula, during the day, they had the education and they had to really make a crash course. We have heard in Srimad Bhagavatam, they learn all the Leelas, all the art and education in 64 days. Because they had these duties to perform coming back to Mathura, they couldn't take education for 5 years. So at that time, during the day, they were busy. And during nights, Krishna and Balram used to sit down and cry in each other's arms. Again, thinking of Vrindavan and not being able to go back or connect with Brajavasis. And again, that time, Balramji was there to help him and support him and share his journey with him. And then in the next phase, when Krishna was dealing with more and more demons to protect the Yadu dynasty, he decided to go to Dwarka, the fort, the city that he created close to the ocean. And this was again, it is mentioned that it's due to his desire to protect the Brajavasis away from the demons, that he moved there, so that they will not be even on the way towards Mathura. If the demons approach Mathura, they probably would touch base on Vrindavan somewhere on their way, and Krishna didn't want any kind of those situations, so he moved to Dwarka for that reason also, one of the reasons. And we have this understanding that Balramji was there in Dwarka as well, supporting Krishna, helping Krishna do all his work that he was planned to do in Dwarka, but at the same time, reminiscing the previous good old days of Vrindavan, reminiscing the relationships that they had, which they gave up with the parents, with the gopas, with the gopis, with the cows, with the peacocks, with the Govardhan and everything. So even in Dwarka, Krishna's heart, which was lamenting from Brajavasis, was understood by Balramji, and Balramji played that role of great friend who would understand and listen to Krishna. And then at one point, they decided to send Uddhava to Vrindavan and give some solace to the Brajavasis. But the next time when Uddhava came back, and after some period of time had passed, Uddhava would not go back to visit Vrindavan again because he could not bear the entire experience. He didn't want to bear it again. And Balramji was able to understand Krishna's heart, that now he did not have anybody to send to Vrindavan Dham to make some connection again with Brajavasis. And he could not go himself from Dwarka. Like sometimes it said, why did he not go just for a couple of days on vacation to Vrindavan and come back to Dwarka? But that was not possible because he had given a promise to Nand Maharaj that I would do everything for the Yadu dynasty. I would not break my promise. I would not do anything that will go against them, that will be harmful to them. So that's why Krishna did not have any possibility of going himself. And because Balramji understood this, that now Krishna is so helpless that he cannot go, he cannot send Uddhava. There is no other person that is capable of going to Vrindavan to heal these wounded hearts of the Brajavasis. And Balramji said, I will go. I will go for you. So it was painful for Balramji now to separate from Krishna, because he was never separated from Krishna right from the beginning. And now he had to travel to Vrindavan, leaving Krishna back in Dwarka. And but he did it because, again, the dilemma that I have my love for Krishna, I don't want to leave him, but I have my duty to help my friend, my brother. Whatever he needs to be done, whatever he needs, I will do it. And that's, again, the third characteristic of the friend over there, is that the person that that friend would do actually take an action about something that the other friend is unable to do, not capable to do, helpless to do. So like that. So Balramji understood Krishna's needs, Krishna's emotions, without even Krishna expressing that this is what I want. And this, without even asking Balramji, he decided that I will go. And Balramji went on behalf of Krishna for 2 months, and he did all his Leela over there with his parents, with Gopas, Gopis, and he healed to some extent these wounded hearts of the Rajavasis. So in this way, Lord Balram plays this wonderful role as a very close friend, a brother who is the best friend in the divine relationship that Krishna and Balram display to us. And that's how God is for us. That's how Krishna as Bhagavan is for us. One who is moved by emotions for his followers, for his devotees, for his lovers. Not only moved, but one who laments for their relation, for the cutoff of their relationships. And that God who will do all the wonderful leelas along with his expansion to show the depth of the relationships. And in this way, Balramji has a very special role, as a special, oh, that's too tiny. I cannot even think what it is. Let me just see what I wrote. I think I mentioned about Balramji's, no, that's not the one. So Balramji is very special in that way. It is mentioned that the two words Bala and Ram. 4 minutes? 12. So Bala is strength, and Balramji acts as the bridge. He acted as the bridge between Krishna and his lovers in Vrindavan. And we say Guru Tattva, Guru is a representative of Balramji, playing the same role as bridge between us and Krishna. So the Guru is helping us to reconnect back to Krishna as a representative Balram, where Balram did that part as a bridge between Krishna and Rajavasis. So we are in the material world, we have forgotten Krishna, and we aspire to connect with Krishna back in the spiritual world. And Balramji and his Guru Tattva are the principles that help us with this bridging the gap between us and Krishna. And the other meaning of Balramji is that Bala is strength, the one who will give us strength to resist the temptations of this world. And then he's Rama. He will give us the joy of reconnecting with Krishna in our relationship. So in this way, I just had a little description about these divine and inseparable brothers and their intimate relationship through their common connection with Vrindavan. And somehow, because Krishna and Balram, when we speak, we always think of the young Krishna and Balram, the 10 years old. And most of this pastime that happened is between age 10 and 17 for them. And we see them as youth in these leelas. And I wanted to connect that to our efforts here in ISKCON Central New Jersey for the same age group of young kids and then adolescent, where we also try to give them these perspectives about relationship, about God's nature as a person who relates, and then help them understand the spectrum of relationships, as I mentioned in the beginning, that spectrum of relationships that Krishna and Balram and all his associates display, which our kids are also going to experience, or they are experiencing as children, and they are going to experience very soon as adolescents and as youth. And these stories of Krishna and Balram are not just Krishna and Balram, but all Krishna's relationships with Arjun in the Mahabharata, Krishna's relationship with Sudama, and so many relationships, not just of Krishna, but also in between all these personalities, they are many times the topics of our discussion, because we want to give our children that understanding of life, which is actually a set of relationships. They may learn about life, education, knowledge, money, etc. in the outside world. But when they come to the Sunday feast, Sunday school programs, our endeavor is to teach them about these relationships so that they can learn and experience through stories the nature of these relationships and learn how to practice them in their own lives as they're growing up. And there are so many instances where Krishna has actually explained these things. So let me see my next slide. So I made a little PowerPoint here about sending your child to the Vedic Sunday school. If you want them to be healthy in their habits, as I said, with the teachings in the Sunday school, we teach them to be taking up good habits and not saying no to the bad habits. And we teach them the real happiness in a sense, that happiness in devotion. We teach them how to become wise in life through knowledge of the scriptures. And then we try to make them smart in the world, dealing with the diversity that they will face in the world, dealing with the ignorance and the mode of ignorance that they will face in this world. So in this way, we try to endeavor giving them these role models, Krishna, Balram, and all other associates, Lord Chaitanya, Nityananda, and even Srila Prabhupada's stories. One time in the Prabhupada Leelamrita is mentioned that Prabhupada, he learned so much from his father practicing devotion, his father serving the sadhus, and that gave a very deep impression upon Srila Prabhupada, and he wanted to do the same thing that his father demonstrated. So one aspect of our Sunday school is you, the parents, where you can inspire your children by becoming serious in Krishna consciousness, by practicing these values, by showing the importance of relationships through your work with other devotees. And in that way, give a very deep impression to your children that they can grow up with those impressions and then act upon them. And then there are other stories where Krishna's direct relationships, like Sudama with Arjuna, can also help our children understand these aspects. So that's how I wanted to somehow connect this to Sunday school, because our registration and the opening of the new school year is coming up very close. And so I thought maybe if I mention, it will be in your mind that to look for these new messages that we'll be sending about opening of the school year. So again, to just summarize everything, we looked at how Balramji has been the best friend of Krishna, and he has been with Krishna throughout all the Leelas in Vrindavan, Mathura, and Dwarka. He never left Krishna. And in that way, he was available to Krishna in good and bad times, through thick and thin. And he not only was available, but he understood Krishna's heart, Krishna's emotions, Krishna's needs. And lastly, he not only understood, but he addressed them and he acted upon them in whatever way was needed to help Krishna at that time. which Krishna could not do for various reasons. So Balramji demonstrated the best friendship. And as a prelude to Balram Jayanti, this is our humble remembrance of Lord Balram and our inspiration to take so many lessons through their relationships. So thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Would you like to comment upon something that you experienced in learning these relationships or applying these ideas to your life? You want this?
Hare Krishna. Yes, Mataji, I would like to comment when my friend went to Vrindavan, Nitya Navina Mataji, I was in separation for months. I was like very sad, so it affected me deeply. Yeah, just like Krishna with Vrindavan.
Yeah, it's very nice that you mentioned your friendship with her. We know it's very deep friendship and your journey together in Krishna consciousness. And yeah, so I'm glad that you experienced that separation which Krishna and Balram exhibited. So glad that you shared that.
Hare Krishna. My name is Roshni. I think maybe like a takeaway that I got, I think there was the part where you were talking about when Krishna and Balaram were crying in each other's arms when they were separated from Vrindavan. And I think I take that as like they're really seeing each other and like how they feel, really holding space for each other. So I think like having that in a friendship is really important. People who see us, so like sometimes if we feel a certain way, if another person gets how we feel, it doesn't have to be a whole group of people, just one or two people, like just few people. It's so important, and it's very like healing, because it's like, oh, I'm not the only one. I'm not crazy for feeling how I feel. So having that safe space in friendships is very important.
Yes, you mentioned the very important aspect. In our Sunday school structure also, we want to give that experience to our kids of having friends, and just friends who will listen to you. And, you know, in the outside world nowadays, there's so much of mental health issues. And, you know, these wonderful lessons that we learn and also we experience, we practice in coming together in the community, in the congregation, can help us so much in dealing with our own mental health. Thank you for that. Yeah. Anybody else? What time is it, Prabhuji? Done. Also, thank you very much. You want to say something?
Mataji, sir. One more.
So
Go ahead.
Mataji, same like Mataji. I was also in deep connection with Shri Vrindavan Prabhu and Nityanavina Mataji, and that void is still there. And after that, Poonchanda Prabhu and Prempada Mataji left, and no one fulfilled
Yes.
that gap.
No one can replace them. Yes. Krishna knows that we will be experiencing in this world, and that's why he demonstrates. And at the same time, with these experiences, we can experience our separation from Krishna. Can you imagine we just having devotees here and having separation from them, having so much of sadness? How much sadness we have in separation from Krishna, from the Golok Vrindavan? We can internally try to understand and build on that, right? So that's beautiful experience. Thank you.
So Mataji, what should we pray for, and when we feel that separation?
How do we feel that?
I mean, when we feel that separation, and that separation was like maybe their guidance and their the way they, you know, teach the practice of Krishna consciousness. I really miss that. So, I mean, many times I pray to Radha Shyam Sundar and Radharani that I don't know how to fill that gap.
Mhm.
So just tolerate it, or what we should pray to, in that concern.
I would pray that Krishna send similar devotees on my path today or tomorrow. Yeah.
Yes, Mataji.
It's hard because they are not replaceable. And it's just that lamentation that we can understand and project it further. As souls, we are separate from Krishna. That's all we can learn from these experiences, the material experiences, project them towards our spiritual experiences and try to increase your devotion in that way. Yeah. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Shri Chandan Yatra ki jai. Shri Radha Shyam Sundar ki jai. Nath Baldev Subhadra Gaur Nitai Panchatattva ki jai. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Just wanted to.
He didn't watch.
Yeah. Let's thank Her Grace Govindanandani Mataji with a loud Haribo, Haribo, Haribo. Thank you very much, Mataji, for giving the class a very short notice. Yeah. Yes. It's a very special topic of Lord Balaram. And Mataji chose that topic because coming on Thursday, 11th August, is Balaram Purnima. Balaram Ji ki jai. So we'll be celebrating Balaram Purnima here. In the evening, the whole day there'll be celebration, but especially in the evening from 6 to 7. Right? 6 to 7 is Kirtan, followed by Aarti and special darshan of Shri Radha Shyam Sundar, Shri Jagannath Baldev Subhadra, Shri Gaur Nitai. Yeah, so last year, remember, there was a very special vow darshan where Shri Radha Shyam Sundar were as if swinging on Julan. Also, that's the last day of Julan. So Julan is already set up. So we will, since on Balaram Purnima, Shri Radha Shyam Sundar were installed, so it's also the anniversary of Shri Radha Shyam Sundar, of our main deities. So that's the anniversary of our temple, in fact. That's why we celebrate that also as Brahmotsav. On Balaram Purnima, we'll be taking the deities on Chandravahan around the premises amidst Kirtan. We'll bring them and they will be swung on Julan. We'll also get special darshan on the altar. And in the mood of Lord Balaram, who expands himself in so many different ways to serve Krishna. He's a Supreme Lord, but he's a Sevak Lord. Right? He's serving Krishna in so many different aspects. He's expanding himself as abode. Vrindavan is the expansion of Lord Balaram. He's expanding himself as the sandals of Lord Krishna, the umbrella of Lord Krishna, the couch of Lord Krishna. The temple itself is the expansion of Lord Balaram. Right. So it's a very, very special day. And in that mood, we can serve Shri Krishna Balaram, Shri Radha Shyam Sundar, Shri Jagannath Baldev Subhadra. And Shri Nityananda Ram, who is the expansion of Lord Balaram and Gaur Nitai. Yeah. So you can also bring different preparations if you like to prepare. If you like to serve in any way, also please let us know. It's a very special day to serve the Lord.
We will have an extended celebration of Brahmotsav on Saturday from 3 to 9. There is 6-hour Kirtan, 3 to 6, and then Suryavahan. Well, it's also Kirtan, and yeah, that will be on Saturday, next Saturday. What is it? 13th of August, August 13th. And then August 14th, we'll have our last Rath Yatra on Oak Tree Road. Addison Rath Yatra as part of India Independence Day Parade, starting at 1 p.m. near Meridian Road and Oak Tree Road intersection, and going towards Middlesex Avenue. And then we'll have Prasadam. There also Prasadam is served at 91 Fiat Avenue, 95 Fiat Avenue. And here also we'll have the program in the evening. Okay. Also, immediately after that, 19, 20, and 21st are very, very special days for Janmashtami. 19th is the actual day of Krishna Janmashtami. Shri Krishna Bhagwan ki jai. We'll be celebrating it here from 6 p.m. to midnight. Whole day there'll be celebrations and serving the Lord in so many ways. But especially concentrated 6 p.m. to midnight, we'll celebrate here. Amidst Kirtan, Katha, drama of Krishna Lila, Abhishek. We'll come to the Abhishek part soon. And midnight Aarti, fasting till midnight and having Ekadasi Prasadam if you can handle it, or take Ekadasi Prasadam the whole day. That's also fine. And next day, we'll be celebrating the appearance of our founder Acharya, His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki jai. Starting at 11 a.m. in the morning. So 11 to 3, there'll be celebration here with so many different preparations offered to Srila Prabhupada. And then in the evening, extended Janmashtami celebration of Nandotsav will be there in the evening. And then also on Sunday, we'll have Krishna dress competition. His Grace Chaitanya Charan Prabhu is with us doing Janmashtami, so he will also be enlivening us with Krishna Katha on those days. Yeah, right. That's what we have on Sunday. Okay. So coming to the Abhishek part, every year we do the Abhishek on Janmashtami of the Lord, and also do this Kalash Abhishek with various gifts offered by the temple to the sponsor. The various levels of sponsorship, dress sponsorship, feast sponsorship, Abhishek sponsorship, and as usual, we have this wonderful Kalash, which I just heard that it just arrived on the port of New York. So we'll be arriving during the week with us. So next Sunday, you'll be able to even see the Abhishek. And this time, we are getting a special gift of the Abhishek stand for home deities. Right? A small table on which you can, this is like shape of a thali with a gomukhi, where you can bathe your home deities right at your home. That will be given to the sponsor as a gift. So with the life membership card, they want prasadam box. So we'd like to open that up for all of you to see if any of you who are not enrolled can enroll for Abhishek. I just heard Let's first of all thank His Grace Shyam Sundar Prabhu and his wonderful team for this nice darshan of the Chandan Yatra. Normally the Chandan Yatra, the actual day is in May, right? But in May, especially in the western part, like America, it's not that cold. The Lord applies Chandan so that his body feels cool from the heat. But in beginning of May, it's not cold. I mean, it's cold. It's not hot, rather. It's not hot. And now you can all vouch that it's very, very hot, right? Yeah, and I'm